Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to At Home Fitness with Coach A, the YouTube channel that aims to bring you guys in gym quality coaching and workouts for your at home or garage gym needs. Without further ado, today is Tuesday, October 6th. I'll date down there in the corner so I can remember. And today is number 205 of the At Home Fitness Programming Series. Here's what we're looking at for today's programming: 6 full rounds, a 200-meter run, and a second 200-meter run per round. Sandwich in between those on the back-to-backs are going to be a set of 15 overhead American kettlebell swings. 53-35 is the prescribed weight, guys and gals, and 15 wall balls. 20 and that should be a 14 is the prescribed weight for guys and gals. Just one piece today. Go after it hard. Might sneak up on you, might be a little longer than you're expecting it to be. Keep in mind the goal on those runs is to be able to sustain them. The goal on the 215 rep pieces is to push them hard. Stick around if you guys want to see movement demonstrations and modifications. All right, guys, as we hop in the workout here, wait for the clock, and it hits off start on the 200-meter run. Obviously not going the full 200 here, but long enough that you guys get the point. So we'll have 2 of these each round for 6 rounds. That's 12 200s. So we're looking at about 1.5 miles total. I'm going to try and keep these as smooth and consistent as possible to minimize time, and also to minimize time picking up this kettlebell. So we're going into our 15 overhead kettlebell swings here. I want you guys to really focus on sending that kettlebell, sending that weight out and up with the hip extension. Notice how the kettlebell is not coming out of the hips until the hips and knees snap it through and extend. And then as it comes down, I catch it, receive it with the hips, and use that energy to send back up the other direction. That's going to be important, that efficiency when it comes to us connecting reps here with minimal rest and making those transitions as best as possible to and from the runs so that we can really try and eliminate any actual rest time here. So what I want you guys to try and do instead is catch your rest, catch your breath on the run, focus on your breathing, keep a nice, smooth, consistent pace so that you guys are able to grab the ball or grab the kettlebell and go there. And then we're into our 15 wall balls. Again, focusing on breathing just like on our run. Nice, steady, smooth movement, especially when you miss the front of the garage roof there. But the point here is I want you guys to try and get through these 6 rounds of work as straight through as possible. Stay tuned for movement modifications. All right, guys, let's talk movement modifications for today's work. So let's go over that run first. If we're not going to do the running, remember we have our pretty standard modifications here for distance, calories, etc., depending on what activity you're doing. If it's going to be a row, we're looking at 250 meters for the guys and 200 meters for the ladies. If we're going to use an airdyne, we're looking at 20 calories for the guys, 14 calories for the ladies. If we are going to use a Concept 2 bike, then we're looking at 400 meters across the board. All right, so if we're not looking at those things to modify, then we're probably looking at something based on equipment or facilities. So that first piece is going to be a American kettlebell swing, taking it up overhead. Remember, you guys can always do a Russian kettlebell swing instead of a full-on American one if you need to. Now, having said that, what we're looking at there is hip extension and power in a sense. So what I want you to be able to modify this with is something that requires hip extension, where you're pushing into the ground to get energy and effort flowing upward, okay? That can be a box jump. That can be a jumping air squat. That can be anything where you're taking off, whether maybe it's just holding dumbbells in our hands, doing our jump and lands. It can be hang power cleans with dumbbells, with a barbell, or possibly even with a kettlebell. It can be RDLs with a barbell, dumbbells, kettlebell, etc. If you have the kettlebell, obviously you're probably going to go overhead with it, or you're going to do the Russian swing with it, but those are options for hip extension, hamstring, glute focused power movements, okay, explosive type movements. Second thing is going to be the wall ball, which is obviously a squat focused mechanic, but it is also a little bit overhead stuff as well. On both these pieces, the hips, knees, legs are the primary function. The overhead position is the secondary. So if you guys can modify it, still get the primary but not the secondary, then that's more than okay for this workout, okay? We've met our goal, we've met our expectations. So if we only have that kettlebell, obviously we're able to do our swings. Maybe we just put it in a goblet position and do our goblet squats, or we can hold it sideways, flat, and do thrusters with that kettlebell. The main movement modification here for the wall ball is going to be very light thrusters. So whether you guys have dumbbells, a barbell, you can even do it with bands a lot, or honestly we can even take this into an air squat or something along those lines if we're looking at using a band and maybe doing some good mornings or some RDLs with that band instead of a swing. One thing I don't necessarily, or I would prefer that you would do here, so let's say we are that person with the band. We're going to take the band and we're going to attach it behind us, and we're going to do those push throughs instead of the swings. Let's not do a good morning instead of the squat unless we're trying to avoid the knees for some reason, whether it's injury, overuse, something along those lines. Let's instead do an air squat, or maybe even honestly a box step up. Something that's a little bit more knee extension focused instead of hip extension, or knee flexion instead of hip flexion. Something that's going to give you some variation there as opposed to the kettlebell swing movement itself.